So thank you for the opportunity that you've granted us to be here to share a few things about life and ourselves. My name is John Baluka. I am saved. I'm an engineer by profession, particularly in the aviation industry, taking mechanical option. Yeah, and with me is my wife. We've come together with her. So I think she can introduce herself.
So Celine Saka, or Mrs. Musili. He is Musili. Proud to be associated with him. Did procurement, still ongoing. I'm a wife to him. I'm a child of God. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a friend to many.
Well, we met a number of years back, I think around 2018, and we met in church. So we were serving in the same church, but she came in later when I had already been in the same church for a number of years. And we just connected. We were friends. We became friends for the longest time, though. I was serving somewhere in some leadership position, but when she came in, it was not like we are just in a relationship from the word go. So I was a leader, so I had to behave myself. I was just leading, purely leading, with no intentions, no motives. But you know, things will move from one to another, one leading to the other. So that's how we got to know each other, and by it grew to what it is today.
My own version, I think we met in 2017. That is when I was transiting from Catholic to now Protestant church, Pentecostal church. So yes, I met him in church. I had a sister who was living in Huruma. It's KAG Huruma. So we had visited the church once. So when I was moving from Catholic to now the KAG, because I had gone there, so I felt at home there. So when I was going there, then is when we met, because it was in 2017, yes, because now I was still a youth and I was introduced and I was told, now this is the youth's chairman, he'll be your leader, nini Evo. So there is when the journey of us not being strangers began. Yeah, it was in 2017. In 2018 is when now we escalated things, because I remember in February, it was in February 2018, is when the Valentine's Day is when he took. We were still meeting and going for like coffee dates just to talk about things. I think I confided in him more. He warmed up towards me, and we became friends, and I could tell him things and we could meet and purely as friends talk. So we used to talk a lot. But now the first serious date that we went and we talked about serious stuff, and we even spoke about our backgrounds, and everything was in February 2018. And thereafter is when we like began calling each other babe. Yeah.
Well, there are so many things that can attract one, and indeed there were so many options. But the journey for me, I never rush into things, especially now when it comes to relationships and marriage, because I think rushing is one of the things that you can later regret. So beauty is a good thing, but the Bible says that in First Peter, I want to believe that the beauty of a woman should come from the inner being. that is her heart and character and how she presents herself also outwardly. So having seen many, having interacted with many, I think the issue of the heart is most important. So in as much as maybe the physical outward appearance is also good, I think I'm more attracted to the heart of a person. And when it comes to the heart of a person, you can easily get attracted if they have the same kind of heart that you possess. So I would say basically I think her heart attracted me. And then in as much as she was from another line of belief, so to say, though still maybe the same God, I'm not so sure whether we believe the same. I saw there was a potential for her to grow, because I could discern that from a distance that the willingness is there to grow. She's having the interest and the willingness too. Those are very important things, so that now this an assurance that she will surely come to where I am and grow to be on the same level with me. And indeed I've seen that come to be as we have lived on with life. She has grown quite tremendously in matters of spirituality, up to where I really desired. And even though we will not say we've gotten to where we wish to be, we are still seeking to know God more, to have more relationship with Him, because He's everything. He is everything. And the more you have an intimate relationship with God, you are likely to become a better human being. And as you surrender to God, so you also find yourself surrendering to each other. So basically, as you asked your question, the very greatest attraction was our heart and our willingness to grow and our interest to know God.
Personally, I met him while I was still growing. I was actually 22 years, but I had told myself I desire marriage, I desire family, and for some reason, I don't know, I used to tell myself I'll get married at 25 years. I don't know why, I've never known, but that is what happened, because when I turned 25, I turned 25 on 20th July, we got married on 8th August, the same year. So I desired marriage, and I knew, I don't know whether I knew, I've never understood, but I used to tell myself I'll be married, I want a family, and I'll be married when I reach 25 years. So I didn't know, at that time, I want to believe I was still little. I didn't know about the list. I came to learn about lists later, but one thing I knew is I wanted a God-fearing man. There's this aspect that is just in a person, that when you are God-fearing, all the rest comes. And I don't want to sound so spiritual. I also, looks are also nice, are also okay. The list that people come up with is also a good thing. But personally, I didn't have the list. Too much, too many things like to list. I think it's also because I don't know. It's because of my upbringing. I didn't care. I didn't really care about money. It's not like I want to live in poverty or something. But I'm a believer that we can do things together and prosper. So the only quality I had is a God-fearing person. If I get a God-fearing person, I was done. I was okay. And the devil is a liar, because he brings counterfeits in everything. So at that time, I was in KCA. He brought a man, and this man was very godly. So I was fully into him, like, hey, he knows God. We would wake up in the morning, he's posted Bible verses and all that, and I was like, this is the guy. Kumbe, it's a counterfeit, to be honest. So through that is when I landed in that church and I met John. That is what kept us together, because he was friendly towards me, and I saw a friend in him, and I will share things with him, and I will tell him, is this man really, is this man really God-fearing? If this is what he does, like, there are things he will do that are not adding up. So we will talk together, we will talk about many things, about the relationship and all that. So eventually, I saw the God-fearing nature in him. I saw the God-fearing nature in him, because when we would talk, and the way he the way he presents himself and everything, I felt it deep down that he's a God-fearing man. So that list was, that is when I ticked and said, I found a right man.
We did it for good period, because now this is 2018 and we got married in 2020, so that's about a period of about 2 years. Yes, there were ups and downs, but I would say there was nothing much as far as I'm concerned, because I'm one person who really absorbs things. So it's a bit not very comfortable for me to say there were other people, but indeed there were. But what I did before we got into serious relationship is to first clear with those that were there before, and that I also ensure that I do it in a peaceful way, so that as I move on, I'm not moving on with anyone. Yeah. So yes, I ensure that I've cleared, and I'm now transited to another relationship. There were challenges here and there, but very minimal, because I think the Lord graced us to have so much peace than we had chaos. Such that even when things cropped up that could bring lack of peace, we still found peace. We still managed to solve issues out. And as I said, there were no major issues. There were no major disagreements here and there. I would say we were so much graced because we kind of related so peacefully, such that you could not identify such a serious issue within, or rather between ourselves. So the only maybe challenge for me that was a bit serious was, by then at some point I lost my job. So being a man without a job, that is a serious challenge. But of course I will never disclose I am having those things in my heart. So I will still comfort myself and present myself as though everything is okay. I remember there was a time she had gone for December holidays at home, and back in Nairobi I'm going for a mission, and on coming back I find the landlord has done that thing. And I looked at it, I laughed. I laughed. We was with some other friends, we prayed, life continued. In the evening we talked with her. I even never let her know that these things have happened to me. I was just okay. So yeah, there were those finance challenges, but as she mentioned before, money was not really a big issue for her. I think the heart was really what she was after, like I was, and that was not really a big consideration. Do I have so much to offer? In as much as it is an important factor, but it should not be the most considered thing, because sometimes money can be present, at times it will vanish from your hands and your pockets and your accounts. And if that was the main consideration, then it will mean you're coming to an end of your relationship, because what has bonded you together is no longer present. So yes, we managed to go along well, without not so much challenges, not so much challenges. And in any case, where there were, we managed to solve them out. So it was about 2 years, yes.
That is true. We dated for 2 years. In that 2 years, he had already proposed and taken dowry to my people, because we, as I said, we began our relationship in 2018 February, and he proposed by March 2020. We had gone home and seen our people. He had paid dowry. So in the 2 years of dating, I never saw any challenge. Like it was the best time of my life, because I found God, and the desire that I had in my heart, I think it was being fulfilled. Because I remember before that time, before 2018, I was that is when I had the desire of now knowing God at a personal level, and that was happening a lot. Because when I now came to KAG, got saved, and I began my journey with God, I entered into ministry like fully, and we were with him, with other friends as well. So there's a band, I sing, so there's a band that we formed, and we would go places for, like praise, for worship, and we were all this time we were with him. So ours was just to, like, be happy, go to practice, go to Keshas, go these things. And I've never experienced peace as I did in 2018 and 2019. I remember my biggest gratitude was peace. I used to tell God, thank you for peace. Because when now John came into my life and we began this relationship, so many times he protected me. So many times I never felt the need to like, how do I put it, to like defend my dignity or my, as a woman. I will come, unaonanga ile tunaambiwanga come as you are. That is how I was with, there are these relationships that people have when you hear your boyfriend is coming, you want to act in a certain way to please him. No, I was myself all this while, and we had so much peace. Actually, peace was the language that God was communicating to us with. Peace. Very few times we disagreed, and on very small things, but many other times we were peaceful. We just did ministry, we would laugh, we just wanted each other's company. I remember there's a friend of his, they used to live together. His name is Leon. We really love him. He never got bored. We used to walk, like, from tuseme we've come from church, they zindikisha mi kidogo, we get to a certain stop, Leon is there together with us, we again go back, or they take us further, and we are on foot because the stories are too much. We just want to speak to each other, we just want each other's presence, and I never got bored by his presence. I wanted him to be where I was every time, and I really thank God, because to me that is mercy. God showed me mercy, because I usually ask myself, what did I deserve? What did I do, to deserve like a man like him? I thank God for him. Yeah, so peaceful. This is how my engagement happened. It was, again, was it on Valentine's Day? It was a holiday. I was at home. It wasn't a weekend. I think it was a certain holiday.
Yeah, it was on a holiday.
Yeah, I also used to live with a friend of mine. Sorry, her name is Christine. So he just came, and he told, I think it was a certain holiday, and and he told me, we are going somewhere. I remember that day my hair was undone, and like I told you earlier, it wasn't a bother. I'm not saying that I used to like just be careless, but I'm saying I was comfortable. I was just myself before him. If that month I'm not doing my hair, I'm not doing my hair, and I'm just fine, and he's okay with that. And then he tells me, babe, next time do this, do this, do that, put on, can you try this hairstyle? And it's not from that point that I was looking unkept or something. No, it was just us. So I remember that day I had undone my hair, and then he just came. He came, and then he said, hey, let us go somewhere. Let us go somewhere. I remember we showered. My friend and I. We showered. I just held my hair, and the way I have some woye hairs. So I just held my hair, and then we left. So as we left, he's the one who is leading. So I'm like, babe, tunaenda. We went to KWS. That was my first time there to be in KWS. So again, we got there late. They had closed. We didn't see the animals or something. We got there, it is closed, and then he's like, okay, let's just sit here. We sat, and then I was so amazed. I'm like, oh, I wish we came earlier. Nasungetuambia, tuamke mapema nini sasa ona tujaona nini. So to cut the long story short, he then proposed. He popped the question, and we were just the three of us, my friend, himself, and I. So he popped the question, and I wasn't hesitant, because if you know, you know. I was sure. I knew this is, these things that ladies tell us at CG, I was not sure, nini. 2 years, okay. We are all different. It might take more years to another. It might take few years to someone else. But if you know, you know. I knew that this is the correct guy for me. So I wasn't hesitant. He popped. And, at some point I thought he's joking. Because we used to joke a lot. I was even, I knew he's serious when he got on his knees. And his face showed it. Like, he wasn't laughing. He wasn't joking about this thing. And he opened the ring and gave me. And I cried kidogo. Lakini, the Luya in me pia. I didn't cry too much. Kidogo too. And I was, like, grateful to him because pia, if he, a heart of a man, the Bible says, who knows it but the Lord himself. If angechoose kunichezea, angenichezea, but I thanked him, and I was like, thank you for, being serious with me and showing me love and showing me that, I'm of value. Yeah.
The proposal for me was a difficult job, because I'm born in a family of very old parents, so obviously I assumed that culture of the old, the last born in our family, and my mom is now in her 80s, so you can imagine. So I belong to that generation where a man going down on his knees is quite difficult. So I could oversee that day, and imagine me going on my knees. I'm like, oh my, it's quite difficult. And how is it going to happen? So how I planned it is actually the presence of a friend whom they were living together was an advantage to me, because I now was able to approach that friend of her and now be able to plan for the proposal. So I talked to her, went for the ring, and then we arranged on where. So we just said we'll go for an outing, and then in the meantime, as we continue with that particular outing, it's when I'll do this thing. So I went for the ring. I gave it to her friend to carry, so that just in case I would just look normal because I wanted to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I arranged it, and indeed it happened. We went for the outing, even though it was not as successful as we wished. But I told myself it cannot fail on this day, whatever the case. So I still did it anyway. Well, just to begin with, for me, I had, wished in my heart that I do things the right way, from the word go. So when I met her, it was like, this, what is happening today is people meet and get married, or rather come together, and then they will do those other things later. But being a Christian that I was, and the things that I love to do as an individual and do them in the right way, when we met and confirmed that the heart was right, the disposition of my heart and hers was the same, I had to go to now see her parents. So we first went for an introduction. I was well welcomed, honestly, and they loved me the way I was, and I'm really grateful to God that He gave me that favor to be accepted in that family. So we also went to our home. It is quite, we can say it is by the mercies of God that everything went on well, both on my side and her side. She was received well. I want to believe she will confirm that. I was also received well. And then we now later on planned for the dowry. So we are from different cultures, so I could inquire from her, she could ask her people on what to do, and that is exactly what we did. Though maybe we never met some expectations somewhere, but by the grace of God again, it still was accepted that way. So yeah, I think it was a bit smooth again. It was smooth. Honestly, I will applaud the Almighty God for the journey, because how it has been, you can only say it was God. It was God. All through the journey, it was God. Because there are things that will have become difficult for us, especially now you see we are from different cultures. But anyway, it worked, and it is working. Yeah.
So I want to first of all say the proposal went on well, because even after the disappointment of us not seeing the animals, after that we went for pizza. We went for Aki, we ate, and I was head over heels. I was happy, but then I was just contented, because content. Yes. I was content, and I was just a grateful soul. And so after that, I now had to call my uncle. My dad is late, so my uncle, the one who takes the role of a father, I now had to call him, and then I told him, "Hey, Uncle Jay, I want to come and see you with my friend." Yeah, and my uncle is also cool to some extent. He was like, "Hey, when are you coming? I didn't disclose too much. And then I also prayed. I remember, did we go to prayer center first, or did we go to uncle's place first?
I don't remember.
I don't remember as well, but I know we used to pray a lot. We used to pray. I used to tell God, if you've brought me this far, there's no way I'm going further without you. So I prayed, and I told God, please make us acceptable before our people and all that. Because, even the fears that we hear, people say, oh, sijui your in-laws, when they refuse you, oh, sijui ukienda kuolewa, your mother-in-law, nini. I had not met his mom yet, so I didn't know what to expect, nini, vitu kama hizo. But I called my uncle, and I told him, I'm coming to see you with my friend. I just said a friend. And when we went, we just did like a shopping, and then we went, and then there he was. Then is when he first introduced himself to my uncle. My auntie also came. Now with my auntie, I told him, not my auntie, like the wife of my uncle, my auntie, her sister now. She's our my dad's last born, so she also came over, and so she knew I'm bringing my fiance, and all went on well. They just loved him. I think any carrier of God, they love the presence of God in you, because minus God, I don't know, yeah, if people look at us like there's that favor you lack, but he's a carrier of God. They just saw him and they loved him, and they said, hey, Selena, you know, they teased me here and there, and it was successful. And then now they began arranging they told him, now come home. It was here in Nairobi. Now they told him, according to our culture, come home now in Busia, and we began the arrangements.
Yeah, our journey to marriage was actually, the genesis is God. I desired from my young age, actually my desire was not to have so many girlfriends. I desired that I just have one person whom we shall grow into marriage. So that was a desire that the Lord put in my heart. And having that in my heart, I then had to pursue how this is coming to actualize in my life. So how I pursued it is I stayed in prayer. I stayed in so much connection to God, so that He will make this dream that He has and desire that He has put in my heart come to pass. So I have prayed all along. I've had relationships with people that ended up well, because we did not have fights in as much as we disagreed. So until eventually I met her, and now after the introduction and the dowry, we started to plan for our wedding. All this while, I was not financially stable, to be so honest. But one thing I knew, and I used to tell her, things will fall into place, because I trusted in God, whom I know is able to make things fall into place. And at this point, I could remind her of the story of Chinua Achebe and his book of Things Fall Apart. So I could tell her, no, things are not falling apart this time round. They are falling into place. And indeed, we've seen things come to fall into place. All this is because we have genuinely loved the Lord. We have genuinely served the Lord. We have genuinely sought His face, so honestly. So one of the things maybe I can probably pass out onto our generation is to be honest and to be so genuine with God. Just be genuine with God. It will cause things to fall into place. So yes, we went for our dowry in March, just before COVID. And then immediately after the dowry, when we came back to Nairobi, COVID came in and everything was paralyzed. So we are on lockdown, jobs have been paralyzed. What do we do? So we stayed. Actually, initially we had planned with my friend whom we are living together that we wed on the same day. So we were planning for that joint wedding. Yeah, corporate wedding. So we are here asking ourselves, what do we do? So for him, he got stuck fast. He never went for the dowry, because now COVID has come in before. So it was me to go for dowry, and then he follows. But when now COVID comes in, things have been stuck. So we stayed, and we are asking ourselves, what do we do? This is March. We get to April, May, June. It is in June that now I inquired from the Lord. And I will not say the Lord spoke like audibly, but I had a conviction in my heart. The Lord telling me, has time stopped? And I'm like, no, it has not stopped. So it means things have to continue. However, rather regardless of the fact that jobs have stopped, we are on lockdown, but there are things, life has to continue. So I approached her and told her the conviction that I have received from the Lord, and it was like, yes, we now need to get things moving, because now up to June we had seen a few people doing those weddings of 15 people, weddings even with the pastor alone, just people getting, you know, joined together and they start their journey. So there is again that encouragement of what we have seen going on. So when I approached her, we talked, we prayed, and then we also went and saw our pastor. I explained to him. And I told him, Pasi, time has not stopped, and the Lord has convicted me that we should not stop doing this thing. By this time, we have now agreed with my brother, my friend, that I am going to go first, because now we are not gone for the dowry, and things are paralyzed. So now we are going for a wedding of 15 people. So we start planning. Jobs were paralyzed. Luckily enough, I got a job. I was paid just a small salary for survival. But from that, I was not depending on that. I was depending on God. Because if I had to look on the salary, if she had to look on the salary, we would not have gone for the wedding. But anyway, we went for it. At some point, she was like, I'm a 22 tuombewe na pasi. I'm like, no. The thing is, I was the first to wed in our family, actually in our lineage. So, and that is what I wanted. I wanted something that is different from what has happened before. And I was really determined about that I have to do things different in my family. And I kept on insisting that to her. We are going for a wedding, nothing less. When we look at things, there is no confidence from from how things are, but we are going for a wedding. Things must fall into what? Must fall into place. So yes, we talked to Pasi, we arranged on the date. It came on the 8th of August 2020. We planned for it. The Lord gave us favor. We found mercies before His sight, because all things went well. The wedding day comes. We had our best couple. We are going for a wedding of 15 people, but I happen to be, oh my God, it is not right for me to say I'm one of the people, but I love people, you know. I just love people, and people love me. So everyone is like, I'll be the 15th one. Everyone is, everyone wanted to be the 15th one. So I'm like, who now will be the 15th one? I'm like, what was Jaju? When you look at my family side, when you look at our family side, already the people who are supposed to come, who are supposed, family, they are even surpassing that number. And we have friends who are also feeling so much needing to come to our wedding. So anyway, we arranged for it with the finances that the Lord made available, and indeed it was enough for the occasion. Hatukuacha na deni. So we went for the wedding on 8th of 8th, and we began our journey. I think she will talk about the day, but for me it was an accomplishment, because indeed our wedding was done, regardless how. We on that morning we are like, okay, everything went well. We had all the support from our friends, majorly from our friends and our family members. So on that day, I was really wishing it to happen before we have any chaos, maybe from the police, from the chief, because I was a bit afraid people will flock in and then we'll get ourselves in danger. But by the grace of God, they were more than 15. I hope I'll not be arrested. They were more than 15, but by the grace of God, the church was spacious enough, so they were well spaced up, and it happened. That was one of the most important things that happened in my life, seeing a desire come to pass, come to be, that indeed I am wedding. Me, I am wedding. Me. Oh my God. That may God receive all the glory. Me, I am wedding. That was such a fulfilling thing. It was such a fulfilling thing. And I really thank God. you know, in all these things, I do, as she said before, we do not want to sound spiritual. In as much as everything is spiritual, we give God all the glory. And genuineness is very important. It's most important, actually, the most important. And when you're genuine with God, He will walk with you that particular journey. So yes, we got into marriage, and we have lived well. I would say we have enjoyed peace. We have enjoyed peace as being the bigger portion in our life for the past now about 4 years. It has been the bigger portion, peace. In as much as sometimes we'll have disagreements here and there, it happens because, of course, in as much as we are joined to God, there is a part that still the human heart, which the Bible says that from it flows the issues of life. The human heart sometimes is captured by the devil, and he will bring some bitterness that will now, when that crops up and it is received by the other person, it won't be so much positive. So there will be a friction at some point. But the good thing is now how you solve that particular issue. Because there's a way you will do it, then you like come back to the original life that you started, you began. So we have enjoyed peace for the last about 4 years now, and we really thank God for that. Challenges here and there, but I will say the good things have been the better part of our life. The better part of life. We really bless the Lord that He has given us that peace. He has given us that unity, and we have been able to coexist in a habitation where peace was more available than anything else. And along the way, we are blessed with a very beautiful and wise child, whom has really become our source of joy in our home as well. We love our child, and she is such a blessing to us, and we thank God for every blessing that He has accorded us all along this journey. It's a long story. let me allow her now to say a part of the story.
Version. Yeah. So I first of all want to go back to okay, the wedding, how it happened. You see, now we are in lockdown. And things are not moving and everything, and I was just at home. I remember where I'm working, we stopped going to work. I was just at home, and my sister, I have a sister that had a baby in June, so I was at her place in Syokimau. So we are there, and things are just the way they are. And as we are discussing with my sisters, now they know him. We were home, like my upcountry. We were there in March, paid all the dowry, but things have stopped. So they are just there asking, oh, how is John? Now they know him. How is he? How are things? So they love him, they've embraced him, and now they're telling me, don't pressure him. Don't pressure him. So they're telling me all these things, and I'm like, it is the least of my worries. The wedding, it's the least of my, provided I have blessings from God, blessings from you guys, blessings from parents, I have no issue. And then I began texting him. I'm telling him, babe, let us just go see Pasi for the marital classes, and then he prays for us with some witnesses there, and then it is done. Me, I'm okay. I already know your heart. You already, you already love me. You want me. The wedding is not important. Me, I don't pressure. Plus, I know our financial status. I know. So I'm like, let us not stress ourselves. God, provided God is with us. So I tell him, me I don't really care about wedding and all that stuff. Don't stress, because I'm also trying to he's my safe space, and I also want him to feel like I don't feel a less woman because there's no wedding. I can't stress you. So I'm telling him, I'm even giving him options. You see, when God when God allows us to get to our 10th year of marriage, we will now do that wedding. See how things are. Nini, nini. Now, something that you do not know, apart from breaking the generational, is it the generational, whatever, he said he's the first one to wed in his family. So he also wanted that. But the most important thing that stood out for me, he replied and said, I don't know whether you remember, because I know you guys are bad. There's one thing he told me. He said, I want to honor you. The breaking of the family, whatever, I don't want to say generational curse or something, but wanting to come out of, like that thing of can we stay and all that, he also wanted to honor me. He just told me, babe, I just want to honor you. But I imagine, I felt it. I truly felt it. And then I went to my sisters and told them, look at what John is saying. And then they were like, oh, then let him go for, the heart wants what it wants. Let him go for that what his heart wants. And I was in for it, and we saw our pastor, and we began the marital classes. And the day came, the highlight of the wedding day for me will be being ringed. After I saw the ring, and then I was like, this is it. This is it. The Lord has done it. And immediately after